Now that we know what is the difference between effective and ineffective feedback, we might like to go a little bit deeper and think about what we can and can't control when it comes to giving and receiving feedback. Feedback is effective when it is received, understood, and acted upon. Without all these criteria met, the feedback might not have any impact. So let's try to think about how we can best create the environment where the feedback can be received, understood, and acted upon. This led me to think about the circle of influence, a concept written about by Covey in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Covey developed this model. We have what we can control, what we can't control, which is the zone of concern, but in between, we can extend our zone of control by having influence. So let's take a look at what this might mean when it comes to giving and receiving feedback. In these slides, I'm going to give you some examples that I've thought about, but perhaps you have other ideas that I haven't integrated here. So I'd like to suggest you to pause the video at any time so you can think for yourself before you see what I've come up with. This might help you to make it more personal and contextualized to your own needs and interests. So as a feedback giver, what might be in my zone of control? Think about it. Perhaps it is the word choices, the tone, the nonverbal language, the moment I choose to give the feedback. This is clearly in my control. What might be outside my zone of control is the concern I have that what if the feedback I provide is not received, is not understood, is not acted upon? We cannot control the receiver's response to our feedback. So what is in my influence zone so that I can really try to reduce this concern that I have? I can do my very best to listen, to pause, to paraphrase the person, to ask questions. Now, on the other side, as a feedback receiver, what might be in my zone of control? It can be my positive presupposition that I put myself in the right mindset where I know that even if the feedback is not delivered well, I still see value in it. Also putting ourselves as a person who is going to respond rather than react to the feedback. So we are not taking it at an emotional level, at an irrational level, but we are understanding it in terms of what it means, and it's not a judgment of our values, for example. What is in my zone of concern might be that how the feedback is given. Maybe it is going to be delivered very poorly. But in my zone of influence, what I can do to, in the worst case scenario, transform a poorly delivered feedback into something meaningful and constructive is to rephrase, to verify whether we have understood. So rephrase it with your own words. Ask for clarifications. Sometimes even triage, like sort the feedback. It is possible that the feedback is not really credible, so it is your choice as the receiver to think whether you want to give this feedback or not. And finally, thanking the person for giving us feedback regardless of the outcome is a valuable practice, gratefulness practice, that also helps us maintain the right atmosphere and regulate the potentially negative effect of feedback. So, as you continue thinking, here is a question for you. How might you intentionally create the optimal conditions for you to receive, understand, and act upon the feedback you receive? Thank you.